I will just state for the record that I have an awesome job. As a zoo curator, I care for, over the years, I cared for thousands of species of animals. Some beautiful, some dangerous, all amazing. And I've worked beyond the confines of the zoo in places like the Mojave and Sonora deserts, the Alaskan tundra, the African savanna, working with schools like Fairfield University, University of Connecticut, and Yale University. We've learned even more through a process we call wildlife observation, behavioral research. In that process, we learn about an animal's adaptations in real life and in real time, and how the animals survive, their survival strategies, and how we can bring that back and apply to our human world. The African wild dog is roughly the size of a Labrador retriever. He is squaring off against cheetahs, lions, spotted hyenas, rock pythons, martial eagles, the list goes on and on, leopards, brutal predators. Most of these predators have obvious and distinct advantages. Sharp claws, recurved claws, incredible bursts of speed, incredible power. The African wild dog, like I said, roughly the size of a Labrador retriever. Blood clawed, doesn't have all those attributes. So how could it possibly survive in the African savanna, one of the most brutal arenas in the natural kingdom? And the short answer is, there's something I term teamwork investment. What happens with African wild dogs is they survive and thrive and have kill rates, success rates higher than all the competition. The competition will hover between 15 and 40%. These guys, between 50 and 70%. They catch more than they fail. So how do they do it? Is there such a thing as a typical day? Yeah. There are components of a typical day, but no 2 days are alike, right? Well, how often do you get to do a root canal on a tiger? Really? I mean, how often does that happen? Not too often, right? Why watch Nat Geo or Animal Planet when you can be right there and be one of the people assisting Dr. Hockman and his staff to find out what's going on with that particular animal and learn firsthand. And that's kind of experience that comes in not only handy, but it's invaluable when it comes to applying to graduate school, veterinary school, or applying for a job beyond your college years. And that is a 4-season endeavor. The animals don't stop getting hungry. They don't stop needing bedding, right? Their needs are constant throughout the year, so we do our very best to supply them with everything they need and more, and that means keeping in shape. Tracy mentioned that our job is physically demanding. Well, as a manager, you know, Tracy could sit back and say, I'm not helping the feed truck when they come in, I'm just not doing it. And I can say, Tracy, as a fellow manager, if we don't help with that feed truck, we will be personas non gratas, right? They will not want to talk to us, our coworkers. It is a team effort. We work together to get the job done. That thing was built in the early 50s. Not a nice exhibit. That has been demolished in its place. We are very happy to say that we have a new exhibit for Amur leopards, and those leopards have a better heating and air conditioning system in their building than we have in any of our human buildings on grounds. I'm serious, it is, it's great. In the summertime, we really like going into leopard holding because it's not when they're in there, but diet prep is exacting because you might have some animals like giant anteaters that have no teeth. And if you have an animal that has no teeth, you have to be able to feed it food that it can ingest. We have one spotter who is watching the gators at any one given time. We always have a minimum of 2 alligators in there. They're typically 5 to 10, or actually 5 to 11 feet long, depending upon the mix of individual animals and genders we have in there. So if we have 2 animals, relatively easy to keep track of. If we have 7 or 8 animals, a little bit more challenging. It is incredibly important for that spotter, Chrissy, to be communicating with the feeder, with Bethany, at all times, because we like Bethany a lot and she likes her hands a whole lot. In the bad old days, just until about 4 years ago, we didn't have the capability of an improved heating system in that pool. So this is like really cool, but it's also really scary. We would wrangle up our alligators every December, early January, right? So when it's cold and you get frost, or we could have snow or ice, we're trying to wrangle up 425-pound, 10-foot-long American alligators who don't want to be wrangled up, by the way. So we would have to do this in a very carefully choreographed teamwork fashion so that everybody's
coming back with the same number of fingers and toes, and our alligators are not getting hurt. Make sure that that animal's gums are not inflamed, make sure that its teeth are not chipped, make sure it doesn't have an abscess brewing in there. And the best way to do that is to get that animal to respond to a gape command. It's actually more of a request. With a tiger, you don't tend to command anything. I want you to raise your hand if you were that kid that took your medicine from mom and dad and never complained. I knew it. Or one. You're honest and you're great. I love kids like that, right? My daughter, Katie, never ever took a pill in her life, right? Wouldn't take an aspirin. Oh my goodness. To this day, you're gonna, like, I don't know how she's ever gonna take a medicine. It just drives me crazy. But the animals are much the same way. They are smart. They know when we're trying to put medicine in their food. They can smell it, they can see it, and some of them have that Labrador Retriever mouth. You'll give an ocelot a meatball. They'll roll it around for a while, and then and on their tongue, out will come the pills. Oh, what are we going to do with this ocelot? You have 5,000 to 7,000 people in the zoo on a given day. Some kids are going to get lost. Sometimes we'll have parents or grandparents that get lost. And we have a very good track record. We do. We have a very good track record of reuniting them. And the way we do that is to disperse, have eyes and ears on everybody, and communicate. And our staff is exceptional. Freeze it right there. Stop right there. All right. You guys can all see that, right? Any questions?
Know your competition, know yourself. The wild lessons that we can learn and apply to our human world are abundant. We just have to look for them. We work with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection, and wildlife biologists to reintroduce Atlantic salmon in Connecticut waters. Now, these animals were wiped out from New England waters almost completely. Over the last 100 years, there were very few fish left. And to date, I'm very, very proud to say that our volunteers, or educators, or keepers, volunteers like yourselves, and wildlife biologists have collaborated to reintroduce more than 1 million Atlantic salmon. Nothing can be further from the truth. If you establish a connection with somebody, people want to know, what is the tiger's name? What is the koala's name? What's its favorite food? What does it like to do? Tell me about the personality of that animal, and that establishes a connection. So it's something that I term passion through compassion. The tiger is a great role model. The tiger fails more than he succeeds, more than she succeeds. It happens. That's okay. But what makes that tiger a tiger, what makes it ultimately an amazing success, is that it never gives up. It has that tenacity. So I want you to remember a pearl of wisdom from the tiger to all of you. I want you to remember that failure is never defining. But nurturing the tenacity to succeed just 5% of the time, after having failed 95% of the time, now that's defining. And with that said, in all of your academic, in all of your career, in all of your personal endeavors, I wish you nothing less than wild success. Thank you.